Before I begin, I regret not saying thank you to a lot of people here who have made my business successful. I am the most unlikely entrepreneur you know. Back in the day, in 2007, we were a couple years into the business, and I started roasting on a 6-pound roaster, and I was just so busy roasting coffee from different countries, and people kept bugging me to drink the coffee, and I didn't have time for them, so I put out a basket on the table, and I would make the air pots over here, and they would come by the first shop over on the bypass, and they would get their cup, and they would just put their money in the basket, and they would walk out because I was just paying attention to the roasting process. And the college found out about us, and this accounting guy wanted to do his project with me. And he came into the shop, and I said, sure, you can hang out, check out what we're doing. And he was very quiet, and he reviewed the whole day with me as I was working, and he came up to me, and I'll never forget this. I had a little table. My roaster was about where you're sitting. And he looked at this pile of money, and he said, how do you know what you're doing? And he goes, what good is a business is if you don't know what you're doing, it's doing good. How do you know your business is doing good? What good is it? And I looked at him and I said, man, you are right on the spot. What good is a business if a business isn't doing good? He was talking to me about a profit and loss statement and cash flow and things that go on in the world of business. And I was looking at him thinking, man, this guy's hosed. And what he needs to realize is that if a business doesn't do good for its local community and the areas in which it's involved, what good is a business if a business isn't doing good? I'll never forget that. Friday, a week ago today, my business burned down. Not only mine, but several others. Devastating fire in Valley Cruces took the life of a young lady. So I've had some time to think about what is business for good. And I want to share with you a few reflections of 10 years of a lot of work. It's a little raw, so I don't mean to bring it down. It's funny how the gift of loss gives you perspective. I came home to my wife, my 14-year-old, my 11-year-old, and my doggos, and it was all good. We had life. So I want to say that before we go any further into it, that I am deeply disturbed over the loss of life, and that material things can be rebuilt, but there is a tangible sense of loss whenever you do something for so long. But in this gift of loss, I find that I've been given a new perspective to really evaluate and reboot and hone in on what I believe business for good is. I listened to Dan and I almost walked out of the room. You're brilliant. I'm not in your league. I have no idea what you said up there. So if you want to go to Wake Forest, I guess you got to be really smart, because I would have failed that class. The one thing he did say is, and it caught my mind, because see, business for good is what the leader does when no one is looking. I'm going to say that again. I just thought about that. Business for good is what the leader of the organization does when no one is looking. Because see, in this current day and age, everybody wants to sell something. And they're running out of things to say about their products to sell. They've used up words and made a mess of eco-friendly and socially responsible and all of these key terms to get consumers to make a conscious decision about what they're going to buy. I roast coffee for a living. It's ironic that you see bags with smiling coffee farmers on them, because coffee farmers aren't smiling. They're trapped in a system that was created in the 15th century, and I was a history major at App. It took me 11 years to get through that one program. Back in the day, we called it Happy Appy. And I don't like that anymore. Anything that's developed in the 15th or 16th century by a colonial superpower around the equatorial belt around brown people does not have business for good in mind. And that same system is still in place today. And we as leaders in our communities, leaders of small business and organizational leadership, we have to not think it's a good idea, because if we're only thinking about it, we're going to compromise when it comes down to the bottom line. That's why I say business for good is what the leader does when no one's looking. You don't do business for good to make money. You do business for good because it's a core value of who you are. If you're not doing good after 5 o'clock when you check out, or before 9 o'clock when you go to work, it's hypocrisy. Authenticity is what we need in businesses that value people. I'm in a weird place, man. I'm vulnerable. Not emotionally. I've got pretty thick skin. But I'm vulnerable now because I'm dealing with a fire that took out a complete complex that had 6 different units in it that were owned by 6 different people. There's content replacement, there's building replacement, then there's an overall insurance policy in it, and it's just a bloody mess. There's an insurance person I just met who's a lawyer. You can't duck your head, I know where you're sitting. I might be bald, but I got good eyes. And I'm going to talk to you for some help. Because right now, I am in a place where I have nothing that I can salvage to rebuild my business. It was gone in just one hit, gone. Which is really sad and really a wonderful opportunity. As I was thinking about that this morning, I got really upset, as you would too, and I thought about, wow, I am my coffee farmer friends in Costa Rica. They are vulnerable. They have they are waiting on a system called the supply chain of coffee and middlemen who are not seeking the welfare and best of the people. That the insurance guy told me, he said, man, we're here to get you back on your feet as soon as we can. We're going to get you back as good as we can, to the best of our ability. And I said, well, bro, that doesn't sound real good to me right now. I said, let's just switch roles. I am the insurance agent. You just wrecked your Toyota Tundra brand new, and you come to me and say, well, what are you going to do? And I said, well, I'm going to get you back to the best of my ability. I've got a Kia over here that's yours. I said, that doesn't make you feel good. And he goes, well, I didn't mean that. No, you did. Too bad. So sad. It came out of your mouth. Don't lie. I'm tired of lies. But here's the coffee producer who is in the same position I am, waiting on a system to help me, and I don't have high hopes that it will. And I thought, wow, how ironic that I'm here today speaking to you from a place that I've never been in my life. Entrepreneurs are not known to wait for handouts. They get it done. Come hell or high water, we just work harder. And today I find myself, I have nothing to work with. Fortunately, you got the last of my coffee. Enjoy it. Because I don't know if I'll be able to get back on my feet to roast it again. But on the other hand, it took a fire for me to understand that my business did good in the community. Because how many of you have been in the grind where all you hear is how you're not doing what you should do, right? How everything you do isn't working. You as the person in charge can see that you should have got this done because this could happen. And so for really 10 years, I knew I was doing good, but the outpouring from my local community here in Boone, as well as my global community in Latin America, it's been so humbling. I think we did it. And what an amazing blessing that is to me. To know that my 10 years worth of work went on there. And it started not because I wanted to sell more coffee, be it organic, fair trade, or happy farmer guy on the bag. I started my business because I feel I have a responsibility to serve in a role of advocacy for those who have no voice, who have no power, who have no opportunity to change the situation they're in. And here I am getting it firsthand, waking up to it every day for the last week. There's two ways you can deal with it. You can either walk with your head down or you can walk with your eyes up. And as I was leaving the fire scene from Valley Crucis, I felt like I was in this surreal movie. The sun is up now, there's just smoke all over the valley, there's this huge freaking mess of junk everywhere that's melting. And I had to walk back to the car, and I thought, wow. It's like the guy who chucks a grenade in his car and blows everything up. I started a new chapter in my life. Well, guys, the period was put on that company. And as I was walking out of the valley, I thought to myself, this is nothing but a speed bump, because I'm walking home to my wife and my two boys and my doggos. Which leads me to something in closing. And one of the few things that survived was a cargo bike that I've delivered 4,000 pounds of coffee on up here. That's why I look so thin and old and tired. And a wooden spoon. This spoon is close to 95 years old. It came from my great-great aunt in Yugoslavia. It's her coffee roasting spoon. It smells like coffee. She would sit over an open fire with a copper kettle and she would stir the beans. You can see how it's, if y'all steal my spoon, I'm gonna rip your face off. Take that from me. If that thing's on, just delete that part. Sorry, told you it was a little emotional. It's really about legacy, isn't it? Because we can't take it with us. It's corruptible. It gets rust. The things of this world don't make it to the next. But the one thing that does is a name and what you do with your life and what you pass on to somebody. I come from a long line of coffee roasters, and I have a legacy. And that legacy is Caleb and Nathaniel. And what I want to do with the remaining balance of my life is reboot harder than ever. Come back with what I love to do, chuck what I hate to do, which is business. I mean, there's a lot of, my people here in Boone keep me in business no matter how bad I screw it up. And so that my boys, when they get older, they can at least say that their old man cared about people, wanted to make a difference among those who needed an advocate. And I believe that through business and the organizational leadership that Dan was talking about, we can make a difference.